call this meeting to order. I'd like to ask our superintendent to lead us in our education and pledge, please.
Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful for all the privileges of life. We're thankful for the people that are here tonight, for the board and the administrators and the visitors, that we can all say and do the things that be the most beneficial to our school system. We ask you to give us wisdom that we might make those best decisions. Be with us throughout the evening. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Before we get started tonight, I'd like to take a liberty, if I could. I've never been afraid to eat much crow, but I would like to say that let's be like Mr. Hastings and Mr. Heston was right. In regards to what Chris Doolan said, I think we all did a pretty good job. And I'm pretty happy. And I hope everybody in the room is happy as I am about the new work school. It's pretty neat. And I appreciate everything that everybody's done. And I think it's going to be a real asset to our community and especially to our students. I think we will. So thank you very much. And that just rotates, but kind of like New Ice State. So it's pretty good.
It was certainly a team effort. There was a lot of people that put in a lot of hours on work, and you know, even the legislature. So a lot of legislatures worked very hard to make it happen. But Mr. Edison, you know, keeping everything running, he was so beneficial with that, with all the community gatherings and support. And you know, and the work doesn't stop here. We will continue to work hard until we open that school, probably in the summer of 2016. And we will, it's all about the kids. It's not about the adults that worked hard to get it. It's about the students and giving them a 21st century education. And that's what we're trying to do. And thank you for everybody's help and support.
Me too. Thank you. Thank all of you very much. I'd like to work with my visitors. If any, you know, anything they want to say or address the board, even though we can't take action, we'll give you, you know, a brief period of time to say anything that you'd like.
Okay.
All right, good. And so let's move on to Dr. Burnett.
Thank you very much. Board members, I want to share with you our summer plan, curriculum, and instruction plan, professional development, and just to see how involved it is and what we've been able to accomplish with our instructional team. First, I want to say about our instructional team. There's so many quality people on this team, as you know. Many of you know them well. The amount of time and energy they put into these types of activities and trainings. And if anything, board, we have to ask them to back off on some of the training, because that's how committed they are and how passionate they are about making sure that our teachers are prepared to be the best they can in the classroom. So here's our summer schedule. Starting in June, we have Springboard coming in to work with all of our Springboard teachers. We're going to have a new Springboard textbook from grades 6 through 12. And I will mention one thing about Springboard. It's been an adjustment and a transition for our schools. But last year in 9th grade was the first year that we were at state average in 9th grade reading on the FCAT. So that speaks a lot about the curriculum, the instruction, the teachers, and what they've been able to accomplish. So we're looking forward to this training. We think it's going to benefit us greatly down the road, especially with the new Florida standards. Mapping and blueprints. You heard from the presentation from Marsha Hill and Rhonda. That's on the SEEK side. Without SEEK, we still have 1012.34, statute 1012.34, that says we need to have an assessment for every teacher and every course. And some of you went up to the legislators and explained to them the difficulties that all our districts are going to have with that, and you represented us well with those comments. But the fact is they didn't do much on that. So we are moving forward with our plan, and as you can see here, we're going to have intense curriculum mapping, and we're going to develop blueprints for every single course so that we can create assessments for them. Which means when parents and stakeholders, community members are asking you about why we're testing so much, the legislature passed that every single teacher has to have an assessment for every course. And that's what we're going to be working on this summer. We have a Pre-K Summer Institute, June 10th and 11th. All this is going on simultaneously. We have the Math Institute with Dr. Gross. Again, K through 5, mathematical practices, Common Core. At the last state meeting, the Deputy Chancellor, Mary Jane Tappan, said that the districts, even the lesson plans that are on CPOMs, do not meet the level of rigor that need to be there. So we're going to continue to work on this with our teachers to make sure they have the training they need so they can provide those lessons at the highest level. We have iQuest training June 17th, 18th, and 19th. That's a science curriculum and for all of our middle school teachers. So again, that's the focus is on rigor and bumping it up so that our students can perform at the highest level, have that access to that curriculum. AP Institutes, you can see the schools that are going. Wilson High School is represented there, but we also have Bronson High School. All of our schools are going to be sending someone to an AP Institute. I want to mention something about the AP Institutes. They're 4 days long. They require homework. They require that they come back and create a syllabus. It has to be approved by College Board. This is intense training that our teachers sign up for. We have 9 teachers signed up to go to the training. Collins writing training to prepare our students to write at the Florida State Standards level. With the new assessments coming, with the emphasis on writing, we want to make sure that they have that training. Avid Summer Institute, we have Wilson Middle School, Wilson High School, Chiefland Middle High, Bronson Middle High, all attending the Avid Summer Institute, and that is about 30 teachers. Cedar Key as well. Excellent training over 3 days, and Michelle and I will also be there to help lead the group at the end of each session through the district level Avid. We also have NEFEC Summer Institute. We're able to find some funds to pay our administrators to attend, our principals to attend. Some of our district folks are going to be there, 6 teachers, and some assistant principals as well. And NEFEC is putting that on. Florida Standards to Lead Team Training. We wrote a grant for this. The state of Florida opened this back up. The last couple of years, 3 years, they've sent us to an institute out of county, Duval, Fort Lauderdale. You've approved those travels. They are now doing it in-house. We created a plan. They're going to give us, I think, $11,000. We're bringing in 3 teachers from each school to create the professional development to bring back to our schools, and they'll present it to their staff and faculty. But we will work together as a team. They've already submitted their names, and then we'll have what's called a Common Core Day prior to the beginning of the school year, or Florida State Standards Day, I should say, and they will present that information to their faculty. So that's going to be involved 2 days with those lead teams creating that training. The district-wide rollout, as I just mentioned, full faculty, post July 29th, they'll choose their own day for the school. ESC Student Services, August 5th, new employee orientation is August 6th. The calendar is full, as you can see. We have several items on there. Also wanted to show you that we have created a course code directory for Lee County. And what we've done is identify every course that meets those assessments. And we've also streamlined the courses that we're offering so that all the schools are offering the same courses and we don't have any outliers. Because if we have an outlier, we still have to create an assessment for it. And we don't need that. So what we've done is we brought all our data clerks together, our principals, our guidance counselors from the elementary, middle, and high, and they have all been given this new course code directory, and these are the only courses that we're offering, and these are the courses that we'll be developing curriculum maps for and assessments.
I don't think that the legislators understand what they just did. What they did was, because we have 260 tests that we need to put together this summer with rigor and relevance, we can't afford to just offer everything that needs to be offered, because then we're creating 400 tests, 500 tests. We can't get done what we need to get done. And so the state has tied our hands with our course offering by creating this type of system. 260 to be made up this summer.
With the streamlining of the course code directory or the courses we're offering, et cetera, have we run into any certification issues at the secondary with that, or is that?
No, this would make our certification issue a little easier, but even at that, it probably hadn't affected it much at all anyway. But an example is like high school PE. We had to create 8 different courses for high school PE. 8 different things. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'll give you an example of what they're going to do with that. For instance, with the high school, with the middle school PE class, what we're going to do is create a rubric for them where they have every benchmark identified. They will then come together. This will be their blueprint. They'll determine how many questions or which standards they will retain, because it's going to be hard to teach to all these standards. This is just 7th grade PE, team sports. You can see all the standards that are represented there. When we bring these folks together this summer for 4 days, they'll go through every one of their standards, identify the standards that are high priority. They will then come to the side column here and populate the number of questions and the complexity of each item. And we will then have to come back together again to create the assessment. The work is, I will say that the work has never been like this in K-12 education. Not when it comes to creating assessments and teacher evaluation. 50% of their evaluation is going to be based on this right here. This assessment that doesn't exist because, remember, we talked about this before, the item banks are not available from the state. So we're going to have to find these items or write these items after we create the blueprint. This, for instance, this course, I use this as an example, there's not a curriculum map for this course. So we're going to also have to create a focus map or focus calendar based on these standards, and then a curriculum map to provide support to the teachers. So
Is there a percent required of the benchmarks?
there isn't a percent required, but if you start to exclude too many standards, I could see someone saying, perhaps a parent saying, my child did not receive the course description and the standards that are represented in that course.
So that gives them a little bit of leeway.
It does give it some leeway.
Like on PE, it's going to happen to be a paper, pencil, or computer based.
Yes.
So it couldn't be a standard like shoot a free throw. I mean, anything like that where physical, where this is on.
Here's the statute. I have the statute up for you. That's a good question. That's why I already have the statute ready. Beginning with 2014-15, each school district shall administer let me just reduce that a little bit. For each course offered for the district, a student assessment that measures mastery of the content as described in the state adopted course description at the necessary level of rigor for the course. They may include a statewide assessment, but we don't have one for several courses. Other standardized assessments, including nationally recognized standards, well, then you have to pay for those. We're not going to be paying for a lot of different types of assessments. Industry cert, we're good there. If it has an industry cert, we're teaching CTE. And then a district developed or district selected end of course assessment. That's it. There's the statute for that. And that's
So
why.
for
That's
PE,
why.
It couldn't be, you could, as a 7th grader, jump rope or.
No, the state wouldn't accept that. Even like Gilchrist County has done, performance pay for years. But like for PE, what they've done is a presidential, yeah, and they threw it out. That won't be acceptable anymore. Those type of things won't meet the standards that the state needs.
Necessary level of rigor for the course, and they really are looking for it to be more of a standardized assessment that multiple choice or something like that. So anyway, I'm almost finished here. I know we have some things going on tonight. I do want to show you just what it looks like for the district staff and teachers. We're going to bring lots of teachers together, multiple. You're talking in the neighborhood of 3 per school, per course, so we're gonna be all over the district. Here's an example, group 1, we have several people that will be involved. You see the facilitators to the right. We have identified buildings where we'll be doing this. We have Joyce Bullock, Wilson High School, Bronson Elementary, Bronson Middle High School, and all these teachers will converge together and will collaborate and try to create these blueprints. Here's some more examples of courses that don't necessarily have curriculum maps yet, that are standardized, that, you know, the assessment is not standardized across the district, and this is the case for all districts, by the way. It's not just Levy. Look at some of these course offerings that we're going to have to create some assessments for: journalism, drama, and the arts. You're going to have people that have some expertise in those areas, but we'll have facilitators to help. But it will be a tremendous amount of work. It's going to be a big challenge for us. But we have a plan. It's all listed out there, and I wanted to share it with you so you were fully aware of the work, the level of work, and what we're trying to do to meet the requirements that the state has put for us. Any questions?
Hey, you might explain what's not the ag up there.
Carol has the ag. She said that we talked on Monday, and we've identified some funding sources. We're bringing all the ag teachers together as well.
But also, are they working on the EOC for some of those courses too?
Yes, and that will be part of this work.
That's
EOCs.
the point I was trying to make.
We're going to have ag. Let's see. We settled that on Monday. Mr. Philpott, those are the kind of things we do during our instructional team meeting, and we are going to be meeting every Monday from now until the start of all this. We're looking at probably 4 to 6 hours every Monday, just working as a team to create the templates and the rubrics so that when the teams come together, we can hand them, like that PE one. We went to CPOMs, took all those standards and populated that. We created that together on Monday. We're going to try to front load as much as possible. We think we have a good plan. We've talked to other districts. We might be ahead of some of them. In some cases, we're even with them. I don't think we're behind very many.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I noticed Page's name up there, the assessments, I was so.
I didn't have time to read what it was called.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, what I'd like to ask the board about is the June 3rd board meeting conflicts with Williston's graduation, and 2 years ago we had this same situation. And what we did was change both of them to morning meetings, 9 o'clock meetings. And both, I'm saying both of them in June to 9 o'clock meetings. And therefore, that's what I'm asking you to do again. Of course, we will advertise it in the paper, change your meeting times, and, and do our due diligence if that suits the board.
So, in June, not got a night meeting?
Will not have, well, when is our first, that's not till July. Yeah, the trim calendar starts in this summer. We will have extra meetings, one extra meeting.
I'm just asking, I thought that was against the law. We had to have at least one night meeting.
I don't think that's required.
I think it was,
Sir?
I think that was just the county commission.
Okay, good, all right, I'm sorry.
You know of anything, Councilman?
I don't know of anything specific from that, as long as it's noticed and advertised,
Okay.
but
I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm clear. So we're gonna change to a morning meeting, but then we're also going to not have the night meeting. We're not gonna have the 17th meeting.
No, we will have the 17th meeting, but that one's always scheduled for morning.
Okay.
We're just gonna have
Both meetings, okay.
two morning meetings in June.
That
So
sounds
moved.
great to me.
But I'll check on it first thing tomorrow or.
All right.
For sure.
I may be way off base now, so no.
No, there was legislation about that, but I think it was dealing with the county commission.
Okay. There was a second, is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Ms. Pam, is there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
No, sir.
Is there any questions about the minutes?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
could I just throw this out, that if in counselor's research, if that in fact does hold up, what we can do is come back and change the second one to a night meeting on the 17th. So we'll still be okay if we need to. Otherwise, we'll do.
Okay, moving on. Excuse me here. Is there any other comments about the minute? Do I hear a motion? Do I get a second?
Yes.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please think about saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Consent agenda. Is there any additions to that, Ms. Pam?
No, sir, no changes.
Ms. Brookins, do you have something you need to do here on that?
Yes, well, and I'm just kind of questioning that. I mean, I guess I need to remove myself from the voting on the bid. Well, we're not going to vote on it. This is just a motion to put it out there. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
So I don't need to remove myself tonight.
You want to take off 1302, controlling products.
Yeah,
Vote
we-
separate.
No, this is a motion for it to go out to bid, isn't it, or an
No.
agreement to?
This is the agreement to extend the annual bid.
Oh, okay.
So you will be bidding to extend this, or voting to extend the bid.
Okay, well, I need to request for that to be removed and separated so that I can abstain from voting on
Okay, is that all, Ms. Brookins?
it. Yes.
Is there any objection to that? Okay, thank you, Ms. Brookins, you are removed. Is there any other comments or questions about the consent agenda?
Yes, so on this trim calendar, is that on here now to ask about the 28th, that's a Monday night, it's different from our Tuesday night meeting,
Right.
that's fine, I mean, that's our normal time we usually do it.
Well, if I may, offer a slight change.
Okay,
I had it at 6 o'clock, but it only has to be after 5.
we can do 5:01, that's fine,
So,
on
since it's
Monday.
me, yeah, yeah, so
I got
if I
that.
change it to 5:01.
I got one of that.
I got
That's
it.
the only,
I know, but this is a little different because in addition to that time change, I would like to suggest a time change for the final hearing on September 16th. If we could make that at 5:01 as well.
Sounds good.
Sounds great to me too.
I just need to know so I can advertise it, so.
Do we need a motion on that, or since we're not?
Is this separate from the consent agenda?
It's not actually on the agenda, I want y'all to see it, and then we can talk about it and take action at the next meeting.
We'll vote on it next meeting.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
when you think about it, look at your calendars and see if this works for your calendar.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
That's all.
Mr. Hastings, could you tell us a little bit about Mr. Stockman, our new district maintenance foreman?
Glenn Holmes, as you know, retired April 30th, and he is no longer with us. Mr. Stockman worked for us previously, and Mr. Alexander held him in high esteem as a worker and as a person that was knowledgeable in all phases of construction, and requested that we hire him as our foreman.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mr. Cowell?
I'm good tonight.
Ms. Brookins, do you have any more?
Did y'all forget to invite me to the party for Glenn? Y'all have going away?
To the what?
We have a retirement party?
We had one in duress in the maintenance department, but
Okay,
he was in duress of it, he didn't want it, but we had it anyway.
okay.
He objected every day vehemently that he did not want any recognition, he did not want any party, and, but, you know, steak is a steak.
Y'all forgot to invite me. Okay. Okay, no other questions, thank you.
Mr. Turner?
I have no questions at this time.
I see that we've got a new head custodian at Wilson High School, is that correct? Or we're going to have, maybe if we pass this deal? Stephen O. Williams?
No, that's not bad.
That's all your Dennis Doug.
Well, you're looking at the old, you're looking at the old.
All right, I just wanted to let you know I could read. I don't have any other stupid questions. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes, consent agenda passes. Mr. Superintendent,
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I need to go back, and we need to approve the bid that we pulled off.
You're right, Mr. Coward, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Brookins, you gonna abstain from this
I'm
vote?
gonna abstain from this vote
Abstain.
because of, what's the right word?
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest.
We need a motion.
I think we probably do.
Maybe we accept that then.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Accept that bid.
At what, 1302 Petroleum Plaza?
Mr. I knew what he was talking about. You didn't know what he was talking about?
Just that I will let you know what my thoughts are on that approach.
Okay, I can figure out most of the time. All right, is there any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Passes. Thank you very much. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, sir. I do want to make mention of some special situations before I get into it. Rhonda Bourne, who presented to y'all at the last board meeting from NEPEC, her son fell from a third story of a building, serious condition, very serious condition. In ICU still, this happened several days ago. Anyway, you know, they, in Gainesville, needs our thoughts and prayers, I'm not sure that's chance. Also, Michael Holman was at a workshop down in Tampa or Orlando yesterday and today, and one of the twins went into convulsions this morning, had a seizure for reasons unknown, not normal. He's in the hospital too, trying to figure out what caused that. They ruled out his heart, did not have a heart problem, but had some type of complication that certainly needs attention. Also, Carol Jones' niece, she's at the hospital. Her niece too, just got her husband out of the hospital. He seems to be doing better. Her niece has a tear duct that does not work, and they went in to correct that, but that created some other complications and problems. So she's there at the hospital with that baby, 2-year-old baby.
Linda Jones' grandmother. Linda Jones' grandmother.
Yeah,
Linda's grand.
Linda's granddaughter, yes. Yes,
Was that baby already? She's young.
Y'all got a copy of the letter from Bobby McCollum, our sheriff, extending his appreciation for all the help the school board administration of Wilson Middle School provided in helping to make the Crab Festival in Williston a nice, safe family event this year. And so he was very grateful for the cooperation that he got from the school board. And of course, we like to assist our sheriff's office because when we need assistance, we like for him to assist us too. So it's a two-way street there. Legislative season just ended. A lot of education bills. Actually, there was over 1,500 total bills on the floor, and over 300 of those applied directly to education. Thank goodness all of them did not pass. I would have been happy if a few more did not pass. But some good things came out. The funding of the Williston High School, at full funding, there was only 3 out of the 7 that got full funding. Levy County Williston High School was one of those 3. Glades, who got funded last year, received full funding again, and Washington County received full funding. Other than that, everybody got something, but I was very happy and proud for what Believing County got to build their school. We certainly can build a state-of-the-art school with $34.5 million. And if we can't, we got a problem. Well, we will. Some of the other things that happened, we'll sort that out within the next couple of weeks when we get some clarification from some of the things. And I'm very glad some of them died, but the vouchers for private schools did not go exactly like I wanted it to go or thought it should go. Gates, there's a lot of bargaining going on. Gates, President Gates, the Senate caved on us a little bit on that, but he was a champion in a lot of other ways. So anyway, we're grateful for that. Funding overall was up. I had anticipated there would be additional dollars that did not come. I think the first time in the history, well, the governor always puts out a pie-in-the-sky budget, and then the Senate and the House budgets are lower, and then, you know, they end up somewhere in between. This year, the governor put out his budget first, which is required by law. The House put out their budget, which is required by law, and then the Senate put out their budget. And then they all compromised and settled below all three of those budgets, which probably was the first time in history that's happened. But there overall was an increase of 2.61% per FTE. They'll tell you that spending increased over 3% total. Well, it did, but that's taken into calculation additional students down in South Florida. And but per student, the increase was 2.61%. Because of our declining enrollment, losing FTE, we lost after the recalibration, which I think is another way the state robs us. After the recalibration, we lost 174 FTEs. You know, we didn't lose that many students, but we lost that many full-time equivalent students, and that was very tough pill for me to swallow. Still not happy for the messenger telling me that, but anyway, we lost that. So our increase in funding was a whopping 1.54 increase in funding, percent increase. So that is minuscule, as you well know. But that's where we're at, and at least we didn't go backwards like we did the first 5 years I was in office. So at least we didn't go backwards this year, and so we're able to maintain. But it just won't be as rosy as what we had hoped it would be or anticipated it would be. Questions?
You anticipate any problem with the governor signing the budget?
No. He cannot strike line item on those because those are all in his budget that he pushed for. He can line item veto other things that he did not put in there. An example would be Central Florida College. He did not have that in his budget, but the House and Senate had a just under $5 million allocation to start the first building, and he could line out veto that one, but I doubt that he will. So I do think that campus will get started too. So I'm very excited about that new building project in the east side of the county and one on the west side, and I think that will bode well for our county. I'm very excited for it.
On special facilities, I know whenever I talked to Mike Presley and Lakes, they had petitioned to keep their special facility money? Is that anything that we consider doing? So,
We will not back away, we will always stay tuned in. Now, we don't have to really do anything except to, make sure that they understand that this is still important. There's no way that they will allocate the first of 3 years, 11.8 million, and have us lay foundations and do all the preliminary work, run sewer lines, pipelines and all that, and then say, well, we're not going to fund the rest of it. They would look like fools beyond measure. But at the same time, we have to show our gratefulness to the legislatures and the governor, and it keeps me from being able to complain about other things I'd like to complain about, but like all the testing we do. But anyway, yes, we will continue to stay on top of it, continue to work Tallahassee for that.
I don't think you, my question was, what Glades is, they're getting to keep their capital outlay dollars up front, and they're taking it off the back end.
They received less than $1 million per bill. There was a special legislation that.
Well, that's in this year's legislation.
Right.
So, but no, last year, in their first installment, they got to keep their capital
They
outlay
have to
money.
pay it back over 4 years.
So,
I believe they have to pay theirs, we have to pay ours back over 3, they have to pay theirs back over 4.
okay.
That's the provisions that I heard about.
The original ruling for special facilities was, that would happen, was written in back when counties got 2 mil money, and you had to give 1.5% bill back to the state.
Right.
Well, that was fine when you got 2 mil money, because you still got a half mil to do your repairs. And then they went to 1.75, and now we're at 1.5. And so we have no wiggle room there. Everything we get, we have to send to the state, which amounts to about 1.75 million a year. Now, I do think that there will be some adjustments. I think that they will give us an adjustment, maybe like what they give Glades, maybe something different, but they're not going to take all of our money up front. I don't think. It would certainly hurt my feelings if they did.
I would rather drop that 1.5 to like even down to 7.5, 1.75.
They did have what Mr. Clemens was referring to if your county collected less than $1 million per 1 mil, they dropped it down. Well, out of the 7 counties that qualified, we're the only county that did. And so the other 6 go to 0.75. We don't get that break, but I think they will give us something instead. But we will work on that, sure.
Thanks, sir.
While I'm up here venting, you got relatives in Tallahassee? I am not happy at all with Chris Dooley. I don't think he worked for us. I think he did us more harm than good. He asked me to have a consultant named Paul Hall, which I am sure is a very fine consultant in many areas. I chose not to go with Mr. Hall, and Mr. Doolin did not like that at all. And he let me know that, and he also then wanted me to do some other things. He wanted me to write letters of support for all the other 6 counties applying, and he said there's 3 more counties coming on this year. He wants us all to stand together. Well, I'm very happy for whatever those counties can get, but my job is to make sure that Levy County is funded. His job is to make, do what he can for all the small rural counties, but that's not my job. And so for him to keep pushing me to help other counties while I'm trying desperately to get funding for Levy County is wrong. And so then he started stabbing me. you know, with things like Mr. Philpott alluded to earlier, saying things like, boy, didn't Dixie County do great? They lost their funding last year, they all stood together, they were just so wonderful. They were an example to all of us. And boy, Glades and what they did, they were just out front, golden people down there. We got full funding. You know what he said to me personally? He said, I don't know how y'all got full funding. Y'all were way down the list. I just don't understand how you got funded at all. And I said, because we did the right things and we worked through the process. And he said, oh, I get it. You had Will Weatherford as your speaker at Decatur. That's what got it for you. It wasn't that y'all did.
You really said that?
Chris Doolin.
I
And
think he was to
we paid him how much a year, Pam?
Whatever it is, way too much.
Yeah.
We pay him $4,500 a year to discredit us. I got a problem. We'll talk about it.
But I want to just go ahead and speak up about that, Mr. Hastings, because there was a time when I think I came to you and I asked, you know, for us to stay in the small county districts. And I truly believe that was the right thing to do then. And now, I mean, and that was, you know, I haven't been on the board that long, but I see the light. And I see what he did and being up in Tallahassee, that he really didn't support us, that he really went out and at that time, I really enjoyed the legislative updates, I really enjoyed the information, but we can get that from the Florida School Board District. And also, what I see from reading all of his comments is it's a copy. It's a copy and paste from other things that he's getting from other meetings. It's not his original fault. He's not really working for us, and he's not doing anything. And you know, as much as I was an advocate for him and for our county staying on that small district, I'm not for that right now at all, and us spending that money and going forward with that, because I don't see that he's helped us. I don't see that we had any benefit. And, you know, it really was a reach. So it was obvious at both legislative things that I went to, you know, this year.
He would do things like, you know, we had all kinds of representatives there. There was Jimmy Smith from Citrus, and, you know, Charles Stone and Will Weatherford and all kinds of people there. And a week after that, and I met with Charlie Stone like 3 times in 3 weeks, and he was at our gala, and he and I had dinner together. And he calls and says, you need to see Charlie Stone. I said, why? He said, because he hadn't heard from him, he wants to hear from him. I said, no, I don't. I don't need to see Charlie Stone. I've seen him 3 times in the last 3 weeks, and he was at our gala, and he's fine. Oh, no, he's not. He said, y'all don't ever talk to him. You don't ever hear from y'all. Y'all better get on the horse and just burn me up.
Well, we do talk to Charlie Stone quite often,
Of course
and
we
stay in touch and everything, but also, I mean, I'm not putting anybody on the spot, but I would like to hear Chris's opinion, you know, about that, because, I mean, I know you're in touch with him, so I'd like to hear your opinion.
You know, I went back to, was it last September? Or no, last December.
Yeah, it was December.
Coming out of the breakfast, the analogy that he so likes to use is the boat and getting across the creek or whatever, and don't want to flood the boat. Well, I think we had some conversations, and he truly, I think, wanted us to not apply.
I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, he did, and almost encouraged that.
And that being said, I think, obviously, with not using Paul, Hawks, so, on more than one occasion, I was told that Hawks was definitely working against us there. And I'm very thankful and very pleased that that came out the way it did, so. But I would hate to see us get out of the small district. So I understand. My thoughts is he may not do us any good, but he could do us more harm.
I thought about it.
That's-
too. He
that is my
might have
only
hurt us
concern.
more, because he's not out there to help us.
Right.
But
And that is my concern, and I guess I also know, you know, if you know how somebody is, and you can use that to your advantage, or keep them at your distance and know what you're dealing with, that would be better, so, but that's all that I would say on that, that it may be to the detriment of us. so.
I've had that thought too. I've thought about that.
I will say one positive thing, I think as far as the textbook and curriculum stuff, I think he's better for us in the big picture items than he is just a specific thing for us.
Well, like sparsity funding.
Right,
I mean,
sparsity.
we get our share of that whether you want us to or not. But anyways.
And I certainly agree with what you say. I mean, this is one part of the deal where he didn't do anything for us at all. But I think there's other areas that he helped, not necessarily us, but all small districts.
Right.
And I think from that standpoint, Mr. Brooks, I think we need to kind of look at that pretty seriously.
He's not going to help us, but because we're in the group, he has to
Right.
help.
And I think that
Even though I certainly agree with what you said.
I probably shouldn't say this either, but, you know, we know how things turned out last year for Dixie. And, you know, the fingers on where the blame can go with that. And I think that Doolin may lie in that, and part of that, you know, that he wasn't there too, and so that made him look bad, and I think that's why he championed Dixie. So,
He was in
Yeah,
Washington.
he was in Washington with his first grandchild, so, but, you know, that,
I don't mind the champion Dixie, because champion Levy too.
You could have, I
You
didn't
can
see
do
the
that.
first congratulations email.
And I know, and I agree with Mrs. Brookins. Every email I get is just a copy paste.
It is, it's a copy paste
It's
from.
nothing. I would love to get one email from him saying, hey, look, man, you can tell he had actually sat down and corresponded with us. And I have asked, are we getting our bang for our buck? And I can understand he's not doing us any good, but he may hurt us. That's kind of like paying the mafia not to burn down the building. I don't buy into that. You know, I don't like giving money to somebody that ain't helping me.
Mr. Chairman, can I?
Yes, sir.
We pay NEPAC lobbyists through our dues to NEPAC. We pay Florida School Board Association through our dues to the Florida School Board Association, those are lobbyists. And we pay in Bristol. So we are well represented at Tallahassee in all those areas. But in Chris Doolin's defense, I kind of agree with everything that's been said. I'm not sure he's as influential as he has been in the past. When Cedar Key School burned, he was very, very helpful in getting us good funding there for that. He walked through the Capitol, introduced us to people that we got access to people that we didn't see. So he was very helpful. What have you done for me lately? So that's kind of where we are.
is Gilchrist still in the small district?
They are. They have pulled out in the past, and we're out for a couple of years. They're going back in, so.
Well, I'm pretty well much of the opinion that you can't have too many lobbyists from our standpoint in Tallahassee. Now, if I'm wrong, y'all can tell me I'm wrong.
It's hard to evaluate the value. I don't know if we're really getting the value. Good value.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
Did y'all notice any significant difference in anything while y'all were not in the small district consortium?
Yes, you get go to breakfast with us.
That was it.
I had value over it.
If we pulled out of that, would we then try and contract with somebody ourselves, or?
Well, like I said, we already contracted with NEPAC and Florida School Board Association and FAST. We already have those. Now, I've contracted with Bob Bedford,
Right.
to help us. And Paul Hawk, do you know him, Councilman? He used to be the Chief Justice on the Florida State Supreme Court, and he got caught up in the Tyson Hall building of the state, and now he's a local attorney in Tallahassee and a lobbyist. But he's well known in Tallahassee amongst the legal profession, but not education. Nobody in education knows it. But so I wanted to go with somebody that everybody in education knew, and that's why I went with Bob Bedford instead of Paul Hall.
Those things, Mr. Superintendent, that you were citing are very beneficial and enough, for my opinion. But is there anything beyond things he said to you, which is enough, but that we could pinpoint, that we could actually draw him out on, that he did that were detrimental to,
I don't know of any,
see what I'm saying with
Yeah.
that though?
yeah, I just think it's, I do think he got embarrassed because Dixie didn't get funded. I think some other senators got embarrassed because Dixie didn't get funded last year. But, that was my concern the whole time. I mean, I worried about so much about us getting kicked out of the saddle when we did everything proper like we were supposed to do. And, but to answer the question, I don't know of anything direct.
That he overtly did that would hurt us, or our chances.
I can't tell you of anything directly.
He didn't just go out and help, and we're paying him to be our lobbyist, and he didn't go out and really actively help.
I'm paying him to help, not hurt.
But he did help in legislative side, on the legislative side. He didn't help with us with the special facilities, so, I mean, that's where I say that I think
Well,
we did what we needed to do by hiring Bedford. So just like Glades did what they needed to do with hiring Galvano's best friend from high school lobbyist, and vice versa, so.
Well, the things he helped us with legislation were universal for small districts.
Right, that's,
And we would be there too. But, to me, he ought to be front and center right now saying, look, the other 6 counties got the 1 mil, the 0.75 mil adjustment. What are you going to do for Levy County? And he is not championing us at all there. I got a problem with that.
I do too. I would-
what do we need him to do on that?
We need him to work the governor's office and DOE about giving us some breaks on ECO money and bill money.
Would you like me to call him tonight or tomorrow morning?
You can
That's
have
good.
that.
I felt, I thought he was a buddy until Mr. Calvin talking about, I figured out pretty quick, he wasn't gonna help us at all. He wanted to hurt us as he could, he didn't want us to play his game. And it really aggravated me from that standpoint, and he ain't done too much Red Jacket since that day. I'm not sure he can, which is kind of sad. Yeah, he was there, and he came.
Mr. Clemens, when do we renew those contracts again? Is it July?
So, if nothing else, if you would withhold your renewal, you'd probably get a phone call, and you might be a little more.
Yeah, we would definitely get a phone call. We'll get a lot of phone calls.
I'll tell you
He
who I
he would be more interested in
That's right.
representing us.
That's
if
right, we
He
don't.
withheld our payment to
Right, so it's just not making
Rick
all the
Shirley
money.
is the president of Small Rural Association this year, and Rick and I are very close. He was my mentor, in fact, from Sumter County, and I know I'll get a phone call from him. I'd be glad to talk to him. That might be the way to go. Okay.
That being said, would you like me to call him about?
I'm not neither encouraging nor discouraging.
Do we think there is anything that can be done right now?
I think that you are our legislative delegate for the board, and that would be a very good thing for you to do, and just touch base and contact him.
And then keep that under wraps, and then come July, I guess, if nothing has been done by him, we can withdraw our participation and get a real phone call.
Just delay it. Listen. Okay. I'm through.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Delaney, I texted him, he seems to think that there is a requirement for one meeting tonight, but I will look into it tomorrow.
We'll swap it if that be the case.
Thank you, sir. You might, Mr. Attorney, you might check and see what time night starts.
Okay.
It's after
5.
5. It's after 5 o'clock.
That's why it's 5:01.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Allen, you have anything?
All I have is I'd like to congratulate Nancy Phillips, the state state school nurse of the year. I'd also like to put out a big go Eagles because tonight we played Mayo in baseball, trying to move on. That's all I got.
We will honor Ms. Phillips at the next board meeting, and we'll do a presentation for her.
Fantastic.
Mr. Carroll?
Don't forget Thursday night is Evening of Excellence in Cedar Key, so 6 o'clock. Be down there.
Where are you holding that at Outback?
Yep. So out back in the auditorium.
Is it dinner, just refreshments?
Just refreshments. It's not dinner.
Big,
I believe it's Cajun punch. It's Thursday at 6 o'clock, yes. In Cedar Key School. I'll send you a text.
Please.
State agriculture, Cedar Key FFA, both middle and high school go down there and compete. And I'll actually be going as a chaperone on that trip because my daughter will be competing. So, and the only other thing is, at next board meeting, when we talk about evaluations, I'm curious to know how, besides, school grades and stuff, how our administrators are evaluated. Especially like if they haven't been at a school, but like it's their first year, how that works.
Well, I tell you, it's changing.
Well, that's what,
Well, we'll talk about it.
what day is it?
Ms. Brooks?
I just want to publicly congratulate our girls softball teams, Chiefland. They're going to state, Vero Beach, they're going to play Friday. Really good group of girls.
Yes, sir.
Good class, I mean.
And Friday and Saturday.
And Saturday too?
Ms. Brooks,
They
any
win.
Yes.
When they win.
That's right, when they win. Okay, I just thought it was front yard. Sounds good. They're going to beat nice.
It might be just playing Friday, never mind, I won't say that. Go
No,
ahead.
no, they're going to win. They're going to win, I can tell you.
Third time's the charm, Mr. Football.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Mr. Carter?
I'm sure you read it, but I'd like to go ahead and make it public. Our superintendent was honored with recognition by receiving a special qualification certification from FAS. So kudos to him on that.
Chief.
Obviously. And also on a different note, I would like to ask you to consider supporting my direction on when we have these people that want to leave us early and put us in a bind. I've spoken with the superintendent, and he has indicated to me that the district is a little bit ahead of the curve, and that they're putting in contracts for teachers, I guess, and other employees, beginning next year, a stipulation in there, and I don't know if you say it will say shall or may, but if you try to leave us early during the school year, before your contract is done, we may or we shall go after your.
I think it's will, that we will send that to professional practice.
I hope y'all support me, in my thinking and talk on that. One lady always said, well, if they don't want to be here, we don't want them here. Well, depending on the time of the year, you may want them here, but just send somebody in there to guard dog over them that they are continuing to do their contracted job. Instead of having to go out and find, who can you find middle of the second semester on to go in that classroom and get the job done.
The stakes are too high today to allow that to keep happening.
I was noticing we had two on this agenda, say anything about them, because we had passed a kind of, well, they don't want to be here, we don't want to be here. But with the addition of that language from next year, beginning next year, I think that's something we can hold over them and say, well, the board's probably not going to approve it anyway, but, you do what you have to do. If you do leave us, we'll be contacting Tallahassee. Thank you.
Thank you. I got just a couple of things. I'd like to carry Mr. Cowell's recommendation or follow one more time. I'd like to know how people in Bronxville are evaluated. Not what up score they make, but like these people that work 3 or 4.
You talk about district office
Yes, I
administrator.
mean, I don't care anything about no how good or how bad, just what process they use to do that. Okay, I'm not, okay, good enough. And then, if they keep shooting Saturday, that we come, anything as good as boil on them. And also, the Red Devils playing right now. So, any other comment for, oh, none?